Hello, this is Geoff Volker with In-Depth Studies, and today we're looking at Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 to 45. This is the Sermon on the Mount, and in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is giving us sort of a sneak preview as to what it's like to be living in the real kingdom. Israel was only a picture, a physical picture of the kingdom of God, but not the real kingdom, because they were an unbelieving picture of the people of God. But let me read. He says this, "You've heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous." Now, he begins in verse 43, "You've heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy." And what is Jesus doing? Well, Jesus is coming as a new lawgiver, taking law to a higher level than it existed under the Mosaic law. We have to remember that in Israel, when Joshua led Israel against the city of Jericho, he was told by the Lord to wipe out those in Jericho, men, women, and children. So in that sense, then, the city of Jericho did not qualify as your neighbor. And in Numbers 35, the Mosaic law talks in terms about the city of destruction, the city of refuge. There was 3 cities of refuge that if you accidentally killed somebody, you could flee to that city and have your case heard. Well, the idea was that if you accidentally killed somebody, then the avenger of blood, a relative of the person who died, if they could get to you before you reach that city of refuge, they could kill you and not be sinning. So then the definition of neighbor, love your neighbor as yourself, which is Leviticus 19:18, they would not qualify as neighbor. So what we see in the Mosaic law, even though love your neighbor as yourself is a part of is clearly there in Leviticus 19:18, the definition of neighbor is very narrow. Whereas when Jesus comes, he now takes the definition of neighbor and he broadens it. He says, love your, you are to love your enemies now. And of course, he's taken it to a whole new level than it existed as part of Israel and the Mosaic law. So Jesus came as the new lawgiver. Thanks so much. You take care now. Bye-bye.